Welcome to Our College Your Voices. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. October is Cybersecurity Awareness Month, and I am excited to have two guests back with us on the show today from our incredible IT information security team to talk with us a little bit about what's going on at the college in terms of IT security, and probably more importantly, as most of us are still working from home quite often, some steps you can take to secure your computer and your digital life. So let's meet our panel. Welcome back to the show, Tom Taylor. Hi, Tom.
Hi, Kara. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
Excellent.
Good. Remind everybody what you do here for Ivy Tech.
Yep. I'm Tom Taylor. I'm the Director of Information Security for Ivy Tech Community College. I also manage the cybersecurity team, the network team, and the telecommunications team.
Excellent. And my other guest is, not to be confused, is Thomas Riebe. Hi, Thomas.
Hey, Kara. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks. So I am the Chief Technology Officer for the college. In addition to overseeing all of our OIT security, I'm also responsible for all of our infrastructure, our ServiceNow practices, as well as setting the technical direction for the college.
Excellent. It is great to have you both back on the show. And, you know, I like to nerd out with you every once in a while, but we'll try to keep this high level. So, Tom, I'm going to start with a question for you because I remembered that October was Cybersecurity Awareness Month in early September because I wasn't a victim of anything. I was the object of trying to make somebody else a victim of, I think we would call that, is that phishing?
Yeah, phishing, email forgery. Yep.
All right. Can you describe a little bit about what happened that made me remember, oh yeah, we should have you guys back on the show?
Well, I believe you had sent us to the Ivy Tech abuse email list where people forward those kind of emails. Suspicious message that appeared to bear your name, but came from an outside source. Somebody had forged the display name on the email, and they were trying to get someone to do something on behalf of you.
Yes, I think buying gift cards. If we texted back just to see what happened, and I think it was buying gift cards. Yeah,
they like the gift cards.
Yeah, so and it's pretty sophisticated when they do this stuff. I think people sometimes think. I guess when I looked at the content of the message, I was like, I hope people know I don't write like that. But they had certainly read my bio and knew some things about me to try to make the person who might respond to them think that they had an in. So that was interesting to see.
Absolutely. Malicious actors definitely do their homework. They look up public records and whatever they can available on you and use that information to craft their attack.
You know, you two and the whole team stand at the front line of Ivy Tech and protect us from all sorts of digital bad actors and malicious actors. You guys use both of those words all the time when I'm talking to you. So Thomas, I'll start this one with you and then Tom add on here, but what are some of the things that you protect us from that people don't know about? I always consider you like sort of our FBI, like stopgap so people don't know what's actually happening. What are some of the things that we don't always know we're being protected from?
One of the first things we do is we make sure that when you go to a website, when you're on the college's campus, that it's not a malicious website that's trying to pretend to be something it's not, or steal your information. So anytime you go on, an internet browser, we make sure that you're not going someplace where you shouldn't. The other thing we do is we probably block on an average month about 60 million emails that come in that are malicious in nature. They're trying to take advantage of you. And you never see that, but we block them. In addition to that, we watch the network. So any malicious activity we see on the network, we will trap and detect. On your PCs at work, we look for any type of code that's trying to take over your PC or take information from your PC or try to do things where it locks your PC down or makes it unavailable to you. In addition to that, we have rolled out several tools in the last couple of years to help protect you. We've rolled out multi-factor authentication for several of our web applications across the college. You'll see that with My Ivy. You'll see it with your email. You'll see that with DocuSign. Again, we've made all these services multi-factor aware. So if a bad guy gets your username and password, not only do they need that to authenticate, they also need your two-factor, which in most cases is you're going to have to say okay from your phone, or put in a code, or get a call back to your home phone number where you agree to, yes, this is really me. And those are all things we've done in the last couple of years.
As we look at October, it's National Cybersecurity Awareness Month. Last year, Tom, I know you did a big campaign with some emails all along. Do we have anything planned this year in addition to the podcast?
We're currently working on some fresh new content to send out to folks this year, and we're hoping to expand that to include not only our employees of the college, faculty, staff, but also our student base as well. So we're trying to keep these tips towards things people can use in their personal lives to secure their homes or secure their digital life at home, outside of the college, away from work.
Right. And I know you've got a lot of those tips, and I love learning from the two of you about what else I need to be doing to secure my digital life. So I'm going to let you dive in and share some of those tips, and I'll probably prompt you and ask some questions as you're going through that.
The first tip I think we'd like people to, that anyone can use to increase their security, is make a list of the online services that you use. Just kind of take stock of the sites that you frequent and visit, that you have accounts with. Try not to use the same passwords on all of them, or the same password on all of them. And then endeavor to try and change the password on the accounts that you use frequently, at least once a year. Some of these sites might require you to change it more frequently, or have different restrictions on what that password can be, but you definitely don't want to let it sit there for longer than a year. There's a lot of websites get hacked throughout the year, and if you don't keep up on what site has been breached or not, then your account could be at risk the more accounts you have. So try to at least take stock and keep a list of the things where you have accounts, and then try to change those passwords once a year.
So Tom, where should I store a list like that? Because if I don't use, and I know where you're going, but if I don't use a formal tool for that, where should or where shouldn't I store that list?
So you can store a list of where you have accounts. You just don't have to document what the accounts are, but it can be as simple as a text file, or an email draft, or something you have, or an Excel spreadsheet where you keep a list of your accounts or places you have accounts. That being said, that's not the ideal solution. Ideally, you want to look at getting a password management tool, and there's many of them available. The premises of a password tool is you only have to remember one password. It's kind of like a bank safety deposit box. You only have the one key, and then all the other passwords are stored inside. They're also very nice because a lot of these tools, such as Bitwarden, Dashlane, or LastPass, which is what the college provides for employees, is that they often, when you visit a website, will enter whatever password they've stored for that website for you. So a lot of times you don't even need to know what your passwords are. So the idea of, if you have a password management utility, you can make the passwords ridiculously complicated, something you would never want to type in, and make them all unique on every site, because you don't need to remember them. It's remembering them for you. And overall, it just really boosts your level of security.
A lot of these tools will go across devices. So not only will it work on your PC, your laptop, it'll also work across your phones. And that way, instead of having to have your passwords on different devices, you store them in one place, and all your devices then will be that central place.
I use LastPass on my desktop and on my phone, and it's great. I haven't typed in a password myself other than my LastPass password in years, and it's
wonderful. You probably don't know what most of them are, do you?
I have no idea what any of them are. Sometimes every once in a while I will have forgotten to store one, and I'll have to use the forget password link. But otherwise, it's great. So.
No, and all of those three I just mentioned, Bitwarden, Dashlane, LastPass, they all have paid offerings. But if you want to use something like that at home, they do have free offerings, free for personal use, that anyone could sign up for and start using. Highly recommend password management utilities. I don't know about everyone else, but I have a million things, and I'm actually not taking my own advice by keeping a list of all the sites that I use, but it definitely helps you manage all that and makes it easier.
I keep my list. It's just in LastPass.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what I do. So.
Right. All right. So then we rolled out last year, and I think this was probably the first time you guys were on the show, was Duo, which is an example of two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication, like Thomas mentioned. So talk about that and how I should use that in securing my personal accounts.
So the Duo app, if you're a college employee, you have Duo for all the college applications. You can use that same application to secure other personal sites if you want to. There's also other utilities similar to Duo that are free to get. But when it comes to multi-factor in your personal life, the college obviously enforces it on certain things like email, my Ivy for employees. But in your personal life, your Facebook, your bank accounts, your personal email accounts, those things are not, we have no control over that. We can't help you with that. So I strongly advise people anytime they get the chance to enable multi-factor authentication on any sort of online account that they take advantage of that. A lot of them come in the form of just simply giving that website your cell phone number so they can send you a text code when you log in. A lot of banks do that. That would be the best advice there is sign up for two-factor, enable it any way, shape, or form whenever you can.
And the text message authentication, because I think that's what Twitter uses, and that's what I think my bank uses. That's just as safe as using one of the apps, or is the app? Is there a preference if I have a choice?
The apps are more secure. There's been some attacks recently where they have a technique. The bad guys have a technique called SIM swapping they can use to either trick your carrier or trick you into sending that text message somewhere else. So it's kind of hard to do. It's not very prevalent, but it does happen.
You guys know about things that I just don't want to know about, is what I always walk away from these conversations with. All right. So what's the next thing that I can do if I want to secure myself, secure my devices, and secure my data?
Along the lines of multi-factor authentication, a good thing to do is if you don't have a cell phone or don't want to use a cell phone or don't have an alternate email account to secure these accounts via multi-factor, another option is a hardware token. For hardware tokens, I like to recommend anything for people starting out to get something called a FIDO2 compatible token.
And that's just like the dog Fido, FIDO2, and the number 2. Okay.
Yep, sounds the same, but it stands for Fast Identity Online. It's a security standard that was created by companies like Google, Microsoft, and PayPal. They kind of banded together because they realized there was a really big problem with online account theft, and they needed a better way than just the standard username and password to validate people when they enter their credentials onto these sites. So they came up with a standard called FIDO. It's now in its second generation, FIDO2. That's where the 2 comes from. And it's basically a hardware token, a little plastic device. The one I have is blue. It's by Yubico. It's called the Security Key. They cost around $20. You can get them off Amazon, eBay, you name it. Sometimes I've even seen them in stores. You pick one up. They're very simple to use. You tie it to your account. There's about 100 different websites support this. Facebook, some of your banks will support it. Amazon, Google, Twitter. So all your social media accounts. But it's a little piece of USB-looking device that you can hang on your keychain, keep it with you, and then whenever you log in, that device has to be in your computer, and it'll light up, and you touch it to verify that you're present. So it's the other portion of the passwords, the something you know, and the token becomes the something you have.
Okay. So it's an alternative to the multi-factor. It's another option for multi-factor.
Yeah, it's still multi-factor, just a different way.
All right. And when we think about the security of those, is the FIDO, the hardware token, is it the most secure, or is the app still sort of my best option?
The apps are good. I would say the token's probably the most secure because it requires you the attacker to have physical control of it. It would have to be in their possession to get that.
All right. I'll put one of those on my Christmas list this year. I have not done that yet, so that's good to know. All right. So I know that one of the things I was looking at the list of things we were going to talk about today. I was like, oh, I haven't done that one. So we're all at home. We're all on our home networks, and we should do some things with that. So tell us a little bit about what we should do with our home networks.
Absolutely.
You have a password. I just am not quite as far off as I should.
That's right. So most of us have, as we've been home, working or teaching or learning, whatever that may be. We're all using our Wi-Fi quite a bit, some more than others. It's been how we've been living lately. If not for work or school, then a whole lot of Netflix or something like that, right?
That is exactly right.
So Wi-Fi is very important nowadays as internet. So ideally, you should probably try and change your Wi-Fi password in your home once a year. Now, I think a lot of people are going to scoff at that. I know me personally, I have a bajillion things at my house. I have the Alexa. I have the lights that you can control with Wi-Fi. A whole bunch of things that when I change my Wi-Fi password, it's about a half a day's worth of time for me to fix everything in my house. But it really does help. I mean, we invite people over. We don't give them generally keys to our front door for everyone who comes over to visit. But we seem to let everyone on our Wi-Fi when they come over to visit. That's just kind of common practice in just today's society. But so you want to change that every once in a while.
Could you talk a little bit about how, a lot of Wi-Fi devices today allow people to set guest networks at their homes? That way, if you have people visit or you have kids that come over or need to go on your Wi-Fi at home, you can set up a guest connection for them that doesn't give away the home password.
Absolutely. That's a little more advanced in some cases, and depending on your home router, Thomas is absolutely right. There are ways with certain home networking setups. I think if you have any of the commercial ones like Comcast where they've provided a router for you, or just I would recommend checking with your service provider if your router model supports that. But a lot of them do, and they'll provide you with what's called a guest network so that you don't have to change your Wi-Fi password for all of your things. You would let people in your guest network that wouldn't provide them access to your home network necessarily, but still give them internet access when they visit.
Okay, so on the doctor's checklist, I'm actually still okay because it's the guest network that I give the password to. And I've not changed that one since I moved in 3 years ago, but I'm still all right then.
You're perfectly fine in that case.
Okay, there are only two other people that have the actual Wi-Fi network.
Yep.
And, if they want to do something to me, they could do it in a whole lot of other ways. So,
Yep.
All right. I was a little surprised you didn't lead off the list with the next one because this is always sort of, I think, of the front line of defense. So what's the next thing we need to do to stay safe?
Well, as all IT guys will tell you, it's keep your antivirus updated and install all the security patches. So when you're working on your computer and you see that little bubble pop up in the lower right-hand corner from Microsoft that says you need to install these updates, definitely click those. When it's convenient, because sometimes they reboot your computer and then you don't want to have that happen in the middle of your Zoom meeting. So
right. And the auto updates for those and like Windows patches. So I know my parents' computer, especially since I can't go visit them as much anymore, I set them up a long time that everything just patches automatically. Is that still the best way to do it?
Yeah, it's generally recommended for most people. Every once in a while, there's the potential for an update to go bad or something, but it's pretty rare anymore.
Okay. All right. So I certainly abide by this next one, but not from a security perspective. I just like shiny new things. So you're giving me an excuse to go buy something. What is that, Tom?
Smartphones. If you have a smartphone and it's over 5 years old, and I've personally been guilty of this on one occasion. And generally, I'm like you. I like shiny new phones, and I want the new iPhone or whatever when it comes out. So I don't think this will be a problem for a lot of people, but it can be. Smartphones are expensive. Maybe you just don't want to do it right now, or you don't have the money, and that's totally understandable. Not everybody can afford to have the latest and greatest. But smartphones are essentially computers. They're just like your desktop or your laptop. They require software updates and security patches, and they only last so long. The manufacturers want you to buy a new smartphone every 5 years, and so they only support them or the software for 5 years. So generally, I know Apple specifically is 5 years. They stop releasing software updates to your phone. So as new vulnerabilities come out, your old smartphone no longer is protected from them. So in order to stay up to date and safe, you really do need to buy a new smartphone every so often. You can't just keep that technology. So if you have parents or grandparents, I yell at my mother all the time for this. You need to buy a new phone. She says, well, this one still works. It still makes calls. And I was like, Mom, you don't understand.
And that's the same for even if I have a tablet that's just Wi-Fi and not on a cellular network. Is that true too? So the old iPad that I leave here for the kids to play with, is that the same?
Yeah, even the iPads, pretty much any electronic device like that touch screen or a smart device is going to require software updates at a certain point.
Okay, awesome. All right, so this next one, this is one of my coronavirus accomplishments. I've actually done this next one. So tell us a little bit about what we should do to simplify.
So by simplifying your digital life, I equate this to much like spring cleaning, and the coronavirus has been a great opportunity for us to kind of have some time to do some of these things. But the idea is, after you've made your list of all the online accounts that you use, maybe spend a little bit of extra time trying to think about the online accounts you have that you don't use anymore. And then go back to those old accounts or those old services. Maybe you have a bank that you no longer do business with. Close out that bank account, close out that online account. Same concept as if you had like a unused line of credit or something at a bank. You typically don't want that sitting around. You'd close that out if you're not using it, so somebody else couldn't inadvertently take advantage of that. But close out your old accounts if you're not using them. If you're no longer on Facebook, delete your Facebook account.
And then I know you mentioned you have some smart lights and some other things. So all of these incredible devices that we have, what do we need to do to keep those safe?
So all of those devices, just like everything else, have vulnerabilities. Unfortunately, because of the type of devices and how they're manufactured, they don't get software updates as regularly as your PC or your smartphone do. So a lot of these devices are somewhat, they're helpless to a certain degree. So one of the things Thomas brought up earlier about having a guest network or being able to segment your home network, a good practice there is to maybe put all your home IoT devices on your guest network and not on the rest of your network. But just at the very least, kind of know what things are in your home network. Have a good idea. Look at your router once in a while and check and see all the devices that are connected to it and make sure that you expect to see them there. Because you don't know what the next time you buy a new refrigerator or a microwave and suddenly you see it on your Wi-Fi network telling you, and you've been wondering where you're getting those emails telling you you're low on milk from.
So one of the things I did this year is I made a smart home map. And part of that was just because I wanted to plan some more significant upgrades to my smart home. I've got some motion detectors and some other stuff. And so the map was just helpful for me in that way. But then I was troubleshooting something after one of those devices updated. And it was really valuable to see all the things it was connected to as well. So that was really helpful as well. So I will add that as my tip. All right. So now we're on to the hard one, which is social media. So let's talk a little bit about what we need to do in terms of our social media accounts.
So social media has been a great tool for, I think, humanity. It's given everybody a platform to share their voices, but it's also, this is less of a technical thing than it is more of a social thing. It's how we use the platforms and the ways we use them. And the consequences involved in that. To quote the Ivy Tech handbook, and this is for students or employees, you have the rights afforded to you by state and federal law, but be aware that not everything you say or post online is protected. False, defamatory, harassing, or intimidating postings are not protected free speech. Inappropriate postings about coworkers, students, supervisors, college policies, actions, or decisions could be the basis for disciplinary action. So what I want to kind of convey here is it is important to read these kind of policies at your work, at your home, and understand where the line between the free speech and, begins and ends. Be aware of what you have on the internet, your content that you have out there. Take some time to look through your Instagram, look through your Facebook, look at who you're sharing things with from time to time. Understand what that content is, who might be offended by it, who are you putting the right kind of things out there. So I think that's just being good stewardship of your own things. Things on the internet tend to live forever. So.
And to jump on what Tom was saying, the other thing to kind of be aware of is that bad actors may be watching your social media to determine, when are you away from home? Are they going to use that opportunity to, try to break into your home? Or are they, they're going to say, okay, I know they're traveling abroad, then, I'll try to take advantage of their credit card information. So, the bad guys use that social media for wrong reasons, unfortunately. So if you're going to share information about your travel plans and your vacations, those type of things, make sure you share it with a protected group. You don't just share it to the world, broadcast it to the world, because bad people are watching.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people think, well, it won't happen to me, but it's happened to me several times where somebody has used information that I have on the internet in a way that is against me. And so I have a slightly high profile, but not very. And so it can happen to anyone. And you do really need to take these steps. I am nerdy, so I do get interested in this stuff, but this is really stuff every single person needs to be aware of and care about very much. So Tom, I know, and Thomas, I've thought so much more about my technology while I've been at home. And I was without internet access one day, which was sort of not okay.
Yeah.
So tell us just a little bit about how COVID has impacted the situation that we're in and our cybersecurity.
It's made things challenging. There's a minor amount of scrambling that happened. We have traditionally been a face-to-face organization. We prefer that. I think it's better for everyone involved: students, teachers, faculty. I personally miss the social aspects of work. I don't get to see my coworkers as much. So technology really stepped in and played a big role there. It's allowed us to VPN in. It's provided us things like Zoom to quasi have these face-to-face sessions, communication, a lot of that. But I think it wasn't just the technology that really helped us out. It was all the people along the way. It was amazing to see the college. Everybody kind of came together in different ways to brainstorm these ideas to get some of these traditionally on-campus programs out the door, online, and to make them available to our students. To me, that was the most amazing part. Was the people. Everybody kept saying we're in it together, but I think this ultimately showed that we were stronger together.
Thomas, I'm going to pitch the last question to you, which is, I don't think I grumble as much anymore when I have to do my annual security training, but remind us of what the requirements are around our IT security training. And I will say, I never grumbled because I thought the idea was bad. I didn't love the instructional design at first, but they have come a long way and it's really well done now. So kudos to our partners that provide that. But remind us what our requirements are around that and what might be coming new in that way.
Well, first, thank you for that feedback. Yeah, we have partnered closely with the content provider and gave them the feedback over the years, what's working, what's not working. So the requirements are that twice a year, you're assigned cybersecurity training. In general, you'll have 6 weeks to complete that training. At the end of that 6 weeks, if your training is not completed, your email account, your password, your email to all your college systems will be reset every other day until you complete that training. So if you don't complete the training for some reason and your password is reset, you can go to the online password reset tool, use your recovery codes to reset your password, and then you will have 2 days then to complete the training. After 2 days, you don't complete the training, we will reset your password again and require you to go to the password reset tool and reset your password again to something you know. We will continue this indefinitely until you complete the training.
Excellent. Very good. And I think I did have to reset my password once, and it annoyed me enough that I got my training done. So it does work. And
Mission accomplished.
Yes, you did well. And people forget. So that's a natural thing that just happened. So just make sure that you get that done.
And we do send out reminders.
Yep.
I think, and if I forget, I believe it's up to 2 weeks prior to the training becoming due. We send a daily reminder letting you know, hey, this training's coming up and you need to, complete it. In that reminder includes all the instructions you need for if you do have your account reset, how to reset your password. It is all there. But I can't thank the college enough for embracing the training. Again, prior to this training, people just weren't aware. We've seen a huge reduction in the amount of security incidents that get reported to us after implementing that change.
And you guys, you have audited that to make sure that we are learning things.
Oh, we know. We know. We know who you are.
I want to tag on to what Thomas just said. I'm very thankful that we have such a progressive leadership that values cybersecurity, understands the modern risks that we face, because Ivy Tech is one of the most connected and digital colleges around. We rival just about anyone with the amount of things that we're doing online. And I'm very thankful our leadership recognizes the things we're doing and the threats that we face and provides us the resources and the support to make all this happen.
Well, that is, thank you very much. And kudos to our IT teams, our information security team who protects us every single day, all of the IT folks. Tom, I was just amazed at how we all came together and figured out how to take this place entirely virtual and did it very, very well. And I'm so incredibly proud. And I know that your teams burned a lot of midnight oil and still are every single day to protect us and keep us safe. So thank you very much. Our call to action today, because we do end every episode with a call to action. I think Tom is going to send me a written version of those steps that he sent, and I'm going to include those in the Thursday email and in the show notes. So give a look to those and make sure that you spend a little bit of time here as we come into coronavirus in winter. You're probably going to have a little downtime stuck in your house to implement some of these steps. So consider that and any of these items you might want to put on your holiday gift list. Thanks again for joining this episode of Our College, Your Voices. I want to thank the two members of my panel, Tom Taylor and Thomas Riebe. As always, great to see both of you. Thank you very much. I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNM Tweets. You can reach us by email at ourcollegeyourvoices@ivytech.edu. Leave us a voicemail at 317-572-5049. Don't forget, if you're an Ivy Tech employee, you can join our Microsoft Teams listener community. I send out instructions on how to join that community every Thursday in the Thursday email. Our website is ivytech.edu/podcast. Production assistance for this and every episode provided by Becky Campbell, Sarah Ferguson, and the Ivy Tech Community College marketing team. And our podcast concept is by Matthew Pittman. Theme music and post-production services provided by Jen Eads at the Brassy Broadcasting Company, and we will talk to you next time on Our College, Your Voices.